Shirley there?
All right, Shirley may be still having some problems with her computer over there. So tonight for our singles Let's Talk. We always enjoy our time together, every Thursday night as we join in at 7:00 p.m. And I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. Today has been a great day. I don't know about y'all, but it has been a great day in the Lord. We started off with our dream builders this morning. We rolled right into morning motivation, and then we went on about our journeys, had to deal with some of the stuff we talked about this morning. And we realized that the Lord had already gotten ahead of us. So I pray that as you have allowed God to lead you in the path of righteousness for his name's sake, that you realize that he is all sufficient. He is all knowing. He knows what he wants to do, and he knows how he wants to do it. And all he wants us to do is show up, y'all. So tonight we showing up, and we're gonna hear what it is that the Spirit has to say to us. Miss Shelley, are you ready? You got everything ready over there? Let's see if she's able to come in. There she is. You ready, Miss Shelley? All right, she's got her mic open, but I think she may be still having some technical difficulties there. Y'all, let's go ahead and go in and go in with a word of prayer on today. Usher the Spirit of God in, and we're gonna let everybody just kind of take a turn and share what your thoughts were from last week as we talked about time for maturity and what may be on your heart today as it relates to something that you've had to grow up to, or something that you had to learn. As we were opening up the calls earlier, Mr. Joe, we were talking about, sometimes we make plans with things and our plans don't always go the way we want. So we have to learn how to go with the flow, with things. And then that's a part of maturity in life. And, we can't sweat the small stuff. So, we have to say, and let it be what it's going to be, or it is what it is, and keep on rolling on. So, well, tonight, Lord, we want to thank you so much for just blessing us to be back in the house again. Thank you for allowing us to, be in your presence, Lord God. Your word said that in your presence, there's fullness of joy. And there's so many pleasures, Lord God, at your right hand forevermore. Father, we come declaring that this is the day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing in this day with you. No matter what the day holds, we already know that you've got today in your hand. Father, we're at the latter part of the day today, and we say still, great is thy faithfulness. Whatever it is that you're doing in our lives, doing in this season, Lord, please don't do it without us. We need you, Lord God, every step of the way, every hour, every minute. And Father, we come speaking to the singles tonight, those that are in relationships, those that are married, Father, those just doing life. We come to have conversations, Lord God, around this thing called maturity. And Lord God, have we had to grow up to some stuff. Things are not as they used to be. You said in your word, when I was a child, we thought like a child, we behaved like a child. But when we became of age, we put away some childish things. So, Father, we thank you for the maturity. We thank you, Lord God, from taking us from faith to faith. Lord, taking us through the trials of life, helping us to know that the storms of life are going to pass. Thank you for taking us from faith to faith and from glory to glory. Thank you for, Lord God, watching over our loved ones, over our families. Thank you for watching over us last night, Lord God. Some people went to bed with some heaviness upon their heart. They went to bed with questions, Lord God. But we thank you that today, Lord, they got a little bit more of some answers to some things. And they realize that weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. So, Father, we thank you for the joy that overfloods our soul. And, Father, if my sister and brother doesn't have it tonight, they can have some of mine. I pass some of my joy right on over to them, Lord God. And let us come on in here and join this family. Let us unite in love. And let us unite in such a spirit, Lord God, of unity that anything can happen in this room. Bless us, Lord God, as we come together. Let us be timely. And but Father, we can do a whole lot of things in this hour and 15 minutes. Lord, have your way in and through all of our lives. In Jesus' name, amen, amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen. Miss Shelley, you ready over there? look like she got a camera open and her phone open, but still got some stuff. Mr. Joe, you want to kind of kick us off a little bit
Oh
and
yeah.
maybe take us back into last week's message just a little and allow everybody to kind of open up?
Yes, absolutely. You know, the thing about it, when we talk about spiritual maturity and growing, and the verse that you referred to earlier is so true. I mean, whether we want to or not, we don't stay a child. We grow. Our body changes. But again, the whole thing is, and I think it's from the thought that we all should want to grow. I mean, and the thing that I walked away from the whole situation is we come into the room, and I say this because we are seeking God and spiritual awakenings, enlightenment, wisdom, all of those things. So when we come into a setting like this, my thought for the day and just coming back from with that is, as it says in Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I was just listening to when you was praying, Marilyn, and you were saying, you know, if my brother or sister don't have it tonight, I'll give them some of mine. Because I think what we learn, and it's a learning process, and it's total against the world system. The more you give, the more you get back. I think we have to learn to release. Don't squeeze it. Let it go. Let it go. And you say we got to flow. Life flows. Have you ever tried to catch or squeeze water? You can't squeeze water. But if you let your hand relax and just let it flow, that's kind of how life can be. We can flow with when we get rid of negativity, judgment, and imbalance, and tune ourselves and bring this personality under the authority of the soul and come to serve that. All of a sudden, flowing in the room, there's laughter, there's joy. Life, love, the liver of life. And we catch on with that. We catch on with life up in here. And it's an energy force within the room, guided by love. Because without love, all of this is an art. It don't really mean nothing. And I just think love is that catalyst. Love is the fulfillment of the law. And you say, what is the law? God is love. So we love and we fulfill. God is love. Just that simple. So up here we engage with each other, love on each other, to move out, to go out, all our different directions as a beacon of light. And, you know, that's spiritual maturity. And I think we did quite a bit of that and going to do more of that as we learn this thing called love. And I'll pass the mic. Hello?
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Joe. Hey, I'm trying to get to this mic as quick as I can over here. I'm trying to put it on mute. So listen, so y'all won't hear me eating over here. But I love that. I love it. Shelly, sounds like I can hear your voice. Are you there?
I'm using my phone right now. For some reason, my computer is acting up. So I do apologize, y'all. My bad.
Okay, that's all right. All right. Well, I'm turning it over to you, Shelly.
All right. So I'm so sorry, Mr. Joe. I heard a snippet of what you were saying. But I know tonight we're doing part 2 of our maturity conversation that we had last week. And boy, did we have a talk last week. It got so good that we wanted to do a part 2 on it. And if you want to, Mr. Joe, if you can just kind of go back just a snippet of what, because you led it last week and what you kind of talked about, just so we can catch everyone else up to speed really quick, if you don't mind.
We kind of started out, you know, growing, kind of my topic was growing spiritual maturity. And earlier, Marilyn alluded to the verse, when I was a child, I talked as a child. I thought as a child. I reasoned as like a child. When I become a man, I put away childhood behind me. And that's 1 Corinthians 13 chapter 11 verse. And, you know, that in itself speaks a lot. It speaks so much to the person. And it's spiritual maturity has no knowledge of scripture. Spiritual maturity is not about age. Spiritual maturity is the natural order of things. Everything that has life force in it is made to grow. Spiritual maturity is measured just like the maturity of a fruit tree, by the amount and quality of fruit, specifically what the Bible calls the fruit of the Spirit. Now, I wouldn't know anything about that unless I endeavor or look for biblical truth. And that's something we all can do. You know, you come from the thought, sometimes you need to put your face in the book and get off of Facebook.
Amen.
And other people don't do that. But anyway, we can't tell people what to do. We can bring up some thoughts, some ideas. And another one, yeah, brothers and sisters, stop thinking like children. In regard to evil, be infants, but in your thinking, be adults. And that says it all. I got one more scripture and we'll move on, Shelley, kind of into some more dialogue. Anyone who lives on milk, being still an infant, is not acquainted with the teachings about righteousness, but solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. So that's kind of a background of some of the topics we did on last week.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
I'm sorry. And I know last week, can y'all hear that? I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're gonna be all right.
Shelley, I think you have to shut one of your lines down, because if you have two of them, it's going to echo.
I'm trying to shut that one off. Okay, that's not working tonight. Okay. I apologize. This, you know, it's just the devil. It's just the devil. We're gonna move on. Well, tonight I kind of wanted to, I think we had the next chapter, the next edition on the list, since we talked about, you know, thinking as a child and our spiritual maturity last week. I wanted to see if we can talk about maturity in our friendships. I think that is one of those topics that a lot of us are going through, not just relationship with men, but our friendships with each other, with women, with you know, everything, our family relationships, our you know, any relationship that we have, our work relationships. I want to kind of go into that conversation, that topic tonight. I think the way that society is and the way the world's set up right now, a lot of us just really don't know how to be nice to each other anymore. Our relations, the way we relate to each other is just not there anymore. We've lost that sense of community, that sense of touch, that you know, and then a lot of us are just childish. Let's just be honest. We're just childish. Somebody hurt your feelings and you are ready to run. You calling, you blocking their numbers. You're not talking to them no more. They this, they that. We're not mature enough to say, hey, maybe that person's going through some things. Let's you know, like Marilyn used to say, put people in their place, put them in their chair where they belong. We don't just discard everybody because the relationship isn't where we want it to be. Let's try to put them in their place. So I want to go into friendships tonight, our maturity in our friendship topic. So if anybody wants to jump in and start off with, you know, what's your friendship, what's your maturity level at when it comes to friendship, especially, and I'm not trying to exclude you, Mr. Joe, but women, friendships with other women. I think we need to really talk about that tonight. So anybody want to talk about how they relate to other women? What's your maturity level when it comes to your friendships with women?
Hey there.
Hey, Robin.
Hey. So I would say that well, just as I've evolved, so to speak, over the years, I remember being in high school and going to an all-girls high school. And because I came up, I have three brothers, or I had three brothers, two left. So I was mostly around boys all the time, around their friends. And when I got to all girls high school, it was difficult for me because I wasn't used to being around a lot of girls. And so I didn't get involved. And then I couldn't deal with the pettiness and all the gossip, and it just bothered me. So, you know, I would say maybe over the last 10 years or so, I've gotten, you know, grown into being used to female to female friendships. So I haven't really, I guess I'm at a mature level. I'm just learning more about females. Not that I never disliked, it's just that I wasn't used to those kind of relationships. I was just used to, you know, it was easier for me. It was very much easier because I knew how to relate to guys more, you know. So yeah, so it's just the evolutionary process for me.
I've been the same. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Robin.
No, I'm good. But well, I do want to say, I think that in order to have mature friendships, we have to be mature ourselves. I mean, we have to really dig deep. And I was thinking, I had written down a couple of notes before you mentioned that topic. And it's just that we can grow up, we can do grown up things, such as being friendships and relationships. We can do grown up things, but be very, very childish on the inside.
That's right.
Have not grown up, have not matured, have not done the work. And maybe just not knowing, you know, that life hits you, you get involved in life and you grow up externally, you grow up with doing adult things, and that childish does come out when you get into relationships. You know? So I think we're at the point where we have to say, look, it's time for, I got to this point too, Shelley, where God showed me that there's still that little girl. So I had to say, I had to get to the place where I said, Lord, that little girl has to go. She's done. You know, she's done. And it's time to grow up. You know, it was actually an intentional decision. So when that happened, then it got better.
Yeah.
So
I've had those friendships. Matter of fact, one of my bosses, she was an amazing boss. She can be in the boardroom and have so much good conversations. But when it came to her relationships with us as, females talking to each other and having relationships with us, she was the worst. Like she was childish. Like it was just like, how could you be on such a high platform and you can talk to everybody and you're a great leader, but then when you just want to just have a conversation with another woman, you're so far, your maturity, you're so childish about it, and we don't have each other's backs. Like it's like the competition, like trying to get mom and dad's attention is there, that childlike thing. So so that's what I've been dealing with. And I think when I first joined this platform with Marilyn's platform, I just never saw so many women standing up for each other, having each other's back. If we're having a bad day, everyone's messaging you and DMing you and checking on you. I've never had that before. And I'm a sister. I'm a child of 6, 4 girls, 2 boys. You would think I would have that. I would know what that sisterly love is, but because I was so far apart in age from my sisters, I just didn't have that. So this community, this platform has really taught me that women, we can have each other's back. We can actually like each other and not try to compete with each other, not trying to see who's better than who's better, just honestly, truly loving each other and watching each other grow. I've watched some of these women when they post certain things in their life. I'm like, you go, sis. I'm excited for them because that lets me know there is a God, that the world is not that bad, but that genuine. And so for me to get that genuine feedback back and that love back, I'm still in shock when I get on this platform. Last night, I joined the married couple class last night, just to every now and again I want to jump in, just get my feet wet and see what y'all married folks talking about. And I jumped in, and I just one of the sisters, couple of them were having some breakthroughs, and it was on camera, and it's real. These people we're going through life together. And the fact that everybody rallied around her and rallied around the other woman. And they just, we didn't just overlook the fact that this sister's going through something. Right. That to me is maturity. That to me is what friendship is all about. What looking at each other and just saying, I love you, Robin. That's it. There's no, I don't love you because you can do this for me. I don't love you because of what you can say to me or what you have and what you got in your wallet. I truly, genuinely care about you. And that takes maturity. And so, when we get to that level in life, it's an amazing feeling to have friendships on that level. So anybody else, I don't want to, talk the whole night through, but I really want every woman on this line to talk about their experiences when it comes to friendships with other women. Like how is it for you? Are you the friend that they can trust, or are you standoffish? Like, give me your feedback on how you're feeling right now when it comes to your maturity level with other women.
This is Deanna. I'm jumping in. How are y'all tonight? I am glad to be in this room this Thursday. And I just really came in to just be nosy, really.
Like, I want to see y'all.
Yeah, I just came here to really just because I love the Mr. Joe. I really like how I just love this room. And that's why I come in here. I really just I wish I could just sneak in, but I just can't. But I just had to say something because God dealt with me about friendship, because since I have moved here to Austin, I haven't had friendship. I haven't got that friendship since I left Flint, Texas. I didn't get it until I was in a broken place and I got with Miss Merla and the Dream Builders. And then it took a minute, and then God started changing and molding me and fixing me. It wasn't about nobody, and now it's like us in the Dream Builders and the marriage, y'all, I feel y'all energy. Even on Saturday, it was just a few women there, but I feel the love, I feel the support, I feel the friendship. When I feel the energy, I'm in the right place. Just like Shelly, you was talking about last night. Yes, that's genuine. And I don't want this friendship to just be for a season. I want it to be a lifetime. That's where I'm at. Like, when I get I had a gas money, I'm coming. I'm coming. You hear me? I don't care about what they talking about. The gas is high. My God is awesome. He moves mountains. You hear me? Yeah. And I think you was talking about the word of God. You was talking about the Facebook. Yes, that's where I'm at. I'm writing down these scriptures for me so I can write them down, so I can put them in my heart, so I can quote them for myself.
Yes.
I am really enjoying this. Oh my God. I really enjoy. I had to jump mine in to tell y'all. Right. And just like you said about the friendship, it's really genuine. no
Mhm.
pity pat, no messiness. This is really genuine in this group. Dream builders and the marriage. I'm so serious. It's like
Yeah.
I went back to work and all through the day, I've been getting messages through Messenger. Like
Right.
I'm so busy, I can't even look at it. So this is really genuine. So I feel y'all energy now. I really am. Like in the morning, Nene, that smile, it really helps out in the, she just don't know. Her smile, I don't know. It's just her energy. And that's all I'm gonna say tonight.
I'm about to say,
Thank y'all.
I'm about to say, Deandra, please don't come in here making us cry, because last night was enough crying last night. Everybody was crying on that call.
Girl, look, I feel the energy with y'all even tonight. Like y'all just, like I said, I just came in to be nosy, but I just in here with my sisters. I'm cheering y'all on because y'all be cheering us on. Mr. Joe, you can come drop in on us on Wednesday night too. We need some men input too.
I might do that. I might do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kingdom connections.
Yes. But you know, if I may say something, Shelley, and you know, you was talking about a friend. And this is my thoughts when it comes to a friend, or one of them. A friend will bless you with prayer, strengthen you with hope, and encourage you with love. That's what a friend does. And that's, you wonder where that happens or when it happens. But when you know it happens and it lingers for years and years, sometimes a friend can be closer than a brother or a sister. Because that's built.
Yeah.
Friends go two things together. But I can come to you and say, Shelley, what's wrong with you? And you come to me, Joe, something not right with you. Come on with it. I know something not right. You can't fool me. Because I can come to Shelley and tell you the truth about you. Then you can come to me and tell me the truth about Joey. Yeah. That's what that work. And that's what friends do. And you go through things together. You go through pits, valleys, mountaintops, whatever all that is. And you don't put each other down, you put each other up, but you tell each other about yourself. I can come to you and tell you about you. And in turn, I don't get mad if you come and tell me about me.
Yep. The truth.
The truth. And
the truth.
Even if it hurts.
Even if it hurts.
Yeah. That's just kind of my thoughts when it comes under the label of friendship.
You might get mad for a minute though.
Yeah. Right.
You come back.
Yeah. And usually if you get mad, that's that ego.
Yeah.
You say, Joey, get over yourself. And then everything is back hunky-dory. You can do that.
Yeah.
And it makes each other better. Go ahead.
It does. It really, really does. Have you ever had a friendship where, they doing stuff and you're like, gosh, I want to tell them the truth. I want to encourage. I want to just let them know, baby girl, stop.
Yeah.
But as a child of God, as a Christian, we know God will take care of them. And
sure.
If they're not praying for it, you need to be the one praying for it and interceding for them for God to help them out and just give them the relief that they need. So sometimes being friends don't mean you got to tell them everything. You don't have to say
you
it.
don't. You
just take it to God.
You don't.
There's just some battles that you can't. You won't be able to win.
No, you won't.
Friendship. I had another friendship where the husband was cheating, and I saw it with my own eyes, and it took everything out of me to not say anything because I know this might ruin my friendship with this person. And I remember, God, I don't want to tell her. I don't want to tell her. I got the proof. My eyes was the proof. I got the proof. And I know there's no intentions of me being with this person or trying to, steal a husband or anything like that. But I never told this woman. I let God do it. I took it to him. And of course, he revealed it to her right away, let her see it off, for herself. So sometimes certain things don't need to be said. We just need to pray for each other and just be there for each other when the time comes.
That's right.
So anyone else want to talk about their relationships when it comes to, the sisterly relationship with friendship? Because we're gonna go down the line. We're gonna talk about our families. We're gonna talk about men. I want to see where your maturity level is when it comes to these relationships, because it is important as a single person that all aspects of your life, you understand why you do the things you do and why you react the way you react. And let's dig into that, because we want you to be spiritually mature and understand that everything in your life, it happens for a reason and there's a purpose for it. And if you don't understand why you talk to your sisters like that, or why you treat your friendship like that, then you're going to get into that relationship and do the same thing and then not have any success again. So if we want to be successful in dating and successful in choosing the right person, or the right person choosing us, we want to make sure you understand friendship and relationship and your maturity level. Are you even mature? Because I'll be honest, I'm childish in certain ways where, if I text you and you don't text back right away, I'm like, well, she ignoring me. Now I'm like, okay, girl, I don't text you too. I know you home. I know you home. I know you see me texting you, and I know you. And so I know I still got some work in me, So everybody has a little thing in them. So anyone who want to jump in, and for those who have just come in the room, we're just simply talking about relationships when it comes to our friendship. What's our maturity level? Where are we when it comes to women and women relationships, like our friendships with our friends? Are you able to, just how is that relationship with other women? And Joe too, like, how is the relationship with men? That brotherly love. See, I don't think men have the same problems that we do. I feel like y'all dap it out and y'all move on. But with women, we just
well, I mean, the thing I'm learning this when it comes to a lot of brothers. We have ways of touching each other and saying, and it says love in itself, but actually coming out of your mouth, that's different. But as brothers have matured, and I'd say, in some of the circles I'm in, brothers are a lot more open to say the word, not just bump. We do the bump and all that, we make throw the deuce, all those things are some form of sign of love. But I'm finding more brothers, as they get more God in their heart, they are able to say, I love you, brother. They even hug it. I make a point with my son to do that, because to some degree I didn't get that. But he was reluctant a little bit. Now he's open about it, and he says it all the time. And we do that. We hug and we say we love each other. And I have brothers now that say it, and they say, man, I never thought I'd be saying this. I said, well, this is where we are. So I think what you find out, and it's kind of like you find in a different part of you that is unfolding. And you're unfolding in the things of God because you allow God to live in the center of your heart. And you're like, who is this person? It's really the true you.
Yeah.
It's a true you. And when you start to show that towards other brothers, somehow I think you can be impactful in that arena. If that makes sense. It is. And you're seeing brothers mature and not think that you have to bite bullets, and that if you hugging somebody, it's not weak. You have to be those old, old ways is just what they are. They're old.
Yeah. And because nowadays the homophobic, they might think, oh, you're gay, or you're this because he's hugging.
It's just, and I think they have to, like I say, everything kind of goes between these ears on perception. How do you see things? Whose eyes you see? Do you do things through God's eyes? And your eyes are open. And so the ways of the world are just what they are, the ways of the world. Your level is so far above that.
Yeah.
So, Anyway,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I love that. That when I see another, especially our brothers, when I see them, loving each other and supporting each other, it's just something about that just because the world doesn't show that often.
No.
They'd rather show us in a negative light constantly. And I'm like, well, that's not all of us. That we're not all like that.
No.
And so when I see that just, it makes me feel knowing that there's still good out there.
Yeah.
So I love that. Anybody else want to chime in and just kind of talk about their maturity level when it comes to friendship? I don't want to, stay there too long, but just anyone else that has anything they want to say about that.
Oh, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Hey, Sheena.
Hey. I was trying to say something earlier, but I don't know if my phone was acting up or not.
Oh.
But no, when I was listening to you when you said, how you call somebody and they not there, they available, but they just not there. Well, to me, fake friends are like shadows. They always near you at your brightest moments, but nowhere to be seen at your darkest hour.
Come on.
True friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but they are always there.
That's right.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
I say that to say, I'm a people person, and we talked about that too on Saturday, as well. I love people. I believe I'm one of the friends. I'll give you my shirt off my back. I can say that I'm one of the friends. I'll check on you. I won't even, you can ask to borrow something from me. I won't even ask you when you're going to pay me back or when you get that, when that next paycheck is, because a true friend is not going to, is not going to hold grudges or say, hey, you remember I did this, I did that, none of that, is all about maturity.
Yeah.
And it's all about maturity in God and spirit,
That's right.
And so a real friend is gonna do things from their heart.
Yes.
And when and they're gonna be that ear to be there for you when when you need to listen. A true friend is gonna be there for you prayer. A true friend gonna walk with you no matter what the situation is.
Right.
It's like a relationship with your spouse. You guys are one together, and if it's no spark there, then there's nothing.
That's right.
And, a true friend is gonna know, when the other friend is in need, when it's hurt. There's no question about, like for example, if me and Shelly together, Shelly gonna know something ain't right with me because she know I'm more uppity. If we real good friends, Shelly gonna know something ain't right. I have to ask Shelly, for this or for that. She gonna already know, because that's what real friends are for. And Shelly not gonna hold none against me neither. She gonna be there for me because I'm gonna be there for Shelly. And if Shelly be there for them kids, I'm gonna be there for them kids, because as single parents and having true friends, we gotta have our sisters, we gotta have each other's back.
That's right.
Mexicans and all these other folks sticking together, but we're our sisters. What are we doing? Fighting one another, we jealous of one another. It's enough room for all of us to grow and to prosper. Let's all love on each other, because love, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
Love is a beautiful thing. And I think if we all can love on each other and respect one another, I tell you, oh Lord, I'm thinking I'm in paradise in heaven, because right now we the world today where it's so much hatred and so much going on right now, to where all we can do is pray, but somebody got to be the bigger person.
Yeah.
Somebody got to be the bigger person. It takes two. What they say is take two to mango.
Yeah.
Two to tango.
Yeah, two to tango. Look, I said mango, and it takes two to tango. I'm trying to be like Joe. I'm trying to be Joe.
Yeah.
But it takes two. And I just, I just love to laugh. I love to be happy. I can't be around negative energy because I'm gonna tell you, that negative energy does something to me, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, talk about it.
With it. And I'm telling you, I can't have that friend that gets mad every time when you try to tell them the truth. Well,
That's right.
well, I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Go ahead now.
Oh,
That's right.
and that's what real friends are for.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
Right.
tell you, that other friend that's supposed to be your friend,
Mm.
if they ought to be able to accept that too and not judge what you saying about trying to tell them this truth.
Yeah.
And it's all about matureness. And sometimes people can't handle the truth.
That's right.
Sometimes they can't. Sometimes you gotta, if you gotta scoop be little yourself to scoop to that level, that ain't the friend for you.
No.
That's right.
You know,
Not at
you
all.
need somebody that's gonna build you up and build each other up, and we can build the kingdom together. We can't build a kingdom with God like that, with that judgment and not being able to handle. Because let me tell you, God, He reveals all things to us all the time.
All
So
the time.
how can you? So how are you able to handle that if you can't handle what I'm trying to give you, or how are you able to handle what God gonna give you? You can't handle what I'm giving you as a friend.
Right.
That's right.
You know, and so my circle, it might be short, but I love my circle that I'm in because the circle that I have is dream builders. I have other circles that's more on the business level, but I create my own circle, ladies. And
That's right.
you got to create your own circle because whatever you create, that's what's within you.
That's right.
You got to
They-
build your own
Like-
foundation.
Like they say, birds of a feather.
Yes, I built my own foundation because how I built my foundation is how I want my circle to be.
That's right.
That's right.
Sometimes we make mistakes and I have to rebuild it again.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I think I build just like building a home, you start what do you start with? The blueprint,
Yes.
and sometimes you have to start from the ground, from the soil deep in the bottom first.
Yeah.
And if that ain't growing, then you need to keep sowing, keep going. Don't just stop there.
That's
you
right.
know so that's when I think of friendship, I think about it that deep because that plays if anybody that's in my circle that's affected me, my life, my health, my well-being, and everything around me.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does. It really
Yeah.
does.
That's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sheena.
You're welcome.
Friendship, I'm telling you, it's if like Sheena was saying, if you don't have the right circle, that right team, it messes up all corners of your life.
Yes.
I know for me, I'm very, very particular with my friendship, and I'm very private when it comes to things that are happening in my life. I know which friend I can talk to about certain things, and I know which friends I can't talk to about certain
That's
things.
right. Yes.
And I had to learn that. We talk about maturity. I had to mature to that because not every friend is able to handle certain things in your life.
That's right.
I know certain friends of mine, or I won't even call them friends, but associates of mine, I can't tell them, oh, I got a promotion on the job. I can't tell them I got a raise.
Wow.
I want to, but I know if I tell them, the jealousy is going to come out.
Wow.
Or something's going to come out and I'm not going to like it. And so, or the competition is going to come out. Well, I did too, and I got this and I got that, and I'm like, oh, that's great. But this is my moment.
Yeah.
You want your friends to be able to give you your moment, give you your time. So I know.
What, you want it to come out because you don't need them. You don't need them sticking around too long when they don't need to be there. Sometimes you gotta test them and see where their mind are, and you don't have to play games because we too old to play games. And life is too short. And if they gonna be there, they gonna be there. If they not, they not. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be myself, and I'm gonna tell you, if I don't feel it, and it don't feel right to me, and I feel like it's gonna do some damage to me, then I'm gonna have to. And I don't have to dismiss you with my words. I can dismiss you with my silence.
That's it. That's it. And that's what I've done. That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it is.
I just know I before I met Miss Marilyn, I used to just block them, dismiss them, don't talk to them. But now I just put them in their place. Yeah. I just put them in their place. They're not gonna be the friends I tell my deepest, darkest secrets to. No, they're not gonna be the friends I call when I need, that girlfriend hug. They're just not. No. I just know that person right there, I'm just gonna call her when, oh girl, you saw what was on TV last night? That type of friend. You know what I mean? Just put people in their right places so we can have a full, because at the end of the day, they are a child of God. They are still his child. And we are to love each other, regardless of what society says, regardless of what they do. If we want to really, truly live biblically, we need to love each other. And that's just it, regardless. So, but like Marilyn said, put them in their place. That's all it is. That's all it is just put them in their place. That's and right. Like Sheena also said, when you the silence, like certain friends, when they don't hear from me, it's because whatever I'm going through, you're not the friend for me for that moment. Right. You're just not. And when I'll post something or they'll find out something, well, girl, why you ain't call me and tell me? Oh, I'm sorry. I just, because I know that's my I'm mature to know that you're not that friend. You're just not that friend that I need to call when God is blessed me. Right. I just know that. Miss Tracy, how you doing, beautiful?
Hey, I'm doing great. Enjoying my summer. Got a month left of it.
Yes. One more day.
Fast.
Huh? I said we got one more day.
Yep.
Yes. I see your hands up. What you got for us tonight?
Well, the Bible is true when it says a friend is someone who sticks closer than a brother.
Yep.
And I've been in Tyler about 30 years. And I've encountered this friend and we're still friends to this day. To where anything goes wrong, with me particular, if I don't hear from her, I don't see her, I can't get her to answer her phone, I'm getting in my car and I'm going to her house. I'm banging on the doors, I'm banging on the windows. And just as I was getting ready to call to do a well check because she's got some issues with blood pressure and stuff.
Gotcha.
And, and I'm saying, well, something could be wrong. And I'm getting ready to get people to break in her house. I said, okay, I need to know if she's in here, if she's passed out, what's going on. And finally she had come to the door. And she said, I'm asleep. I said, how long have you been asleep? Then she couldn't think. She said, I've been out of it. I won't lie. I said, well, I'm just coming to check on you because I hadn't heard you. I hadn't seen nothing. Hadn't seen you. Hadn't heard nothing from you. And, I'm like, I just came to see if you're all right. She said, I'm fine. Thank you. And even tonight, I didn't go where I needed to go because she had a situation with her car. So I had to go with her, to get her, wait for her car to get picked up. Then I took her home. Oh, I made you late. I said, that's okay, because you've done it for me plenty of times. Right. And I've been blessed to have friends like that. There are not many people like that who you can call at the drop of a dime or who thinks enough about you if they don't hear from you. They come and check in. But we've had disagreements over the years, but hey, we chalk them up. Hey, your opinion is your opinion, my opinion is my opinion. Because we're never going to agree on everything. And that was the part I had to learn dealing with maturity. Everybody's not going to see everything from your point of view, and they're not going to see everything. You're not going to see everything from theirs. And with her, I can truly say she's been a close friend. Even when I had to have eye surgery years ago, I just couldn't see anymore. And she was driving me around. We were trying to go to church one night. And she got and picked me up early because she's usually late all the time. I said, you here early? She said, yeah, I'm here on time. Come on, let's go. We were riding and talking, and it was pouring down rain. And then I kind of noticed with the fuzzy vision I had, I said, wait a minute. I think we passed the church. And she said, oh, we out here at UT Tyler. And then she says, why do you tell me? We passed the church miles back. I said, because I can't see. You remember, I'm blind in one eye, I can't see out the other one. I can't see my head in front of my face. I'm not the one to rely on to tell you where we are.
Oh my goodness.
And she had eye surgery herself and still having problems with her eyes. So it was truly the blind leading the blind.
The blind,
So
I was gonna say the blind leading the blind.
so I can say she is truly a person. We gave a true meaning to the term ride or die.
That's good.
But
I love it. I love
It's been that type of friendship. And there are a few others, but not many I can count on one hand. Because I remember my grandmother teaching me, she said, you got a lot of acquaintances, but you have very few friends.
Amen.
That's right.
Yeah. That title is very, very, that's a good, that you can't give that title out to just anybody. That title needs to be earned.
Yes.
All right. So I really want to get into this because we got a few minutes, maturity in love. Let's talk about it because, now that we've talked about our friendships, and like I said, with me, I still have a lot of, little childish things in me when I don't get my little text messages responded back to real good. And I think, just looking ahead, if I was in a relationship and that person didn't respond to my text, I can't act like that,
That's right.
So like I said, our friendships, our relationships with each other, it plays a big part when it comes to dealing with a mate. If you can't be a good friend to a girlfriend, to a guy friend, how are you going to date somebody and be in a relationship with somebody and you can't keep a friendship?
That's right.
And that's important. That's very, very important because if you have, one thing with me is when I meet a new girlfriend or a guy friend, and I realize that they don't have any other friends. Like they don't have another friend. They just met me and they say, no, I don't have no friends. I'm by myself. I pay attention to that.
That's right.
That speaks volumes to me. And a lot of us don't realize that. But if you meet somebody and they don't have friends, like they don't have anyone they can call on, that's a flag for me.
Yes,
that's a flag for me. That just lets me know that what's going on, that someone's not comfortable enough to be your friend. Because everybody got to have somebody, So that's where we are. I see Miss Marilyn. Are you ready? You got something to say? You look so ready.
Yeah, I was fixing to say something on that because I think not only you meet someone and they don't have any friends, do they have any godly friends?
That's right.
Yeah, true.
And not even just godly friends. Do you have any spiritual leaders around you? Because I guarantee you in life, there are going to be some things that you're going to go through that you're going to need more than the streets to teach you some stuff. There's some things that the street just don't have the answers to. And, it's so easy for us to make decisions from the natural perspective with things. And it tells a lot when you hear individuals saying certain things or doing certain things, it tells a story about their surroundings a lot. It really does. Your friendships, who you hang out with, how quick you are to say certain things. That means there's no accountability around. And so what my challenge is that when we see those things in individuals, that, it is so easy to find the things that are wrong with people, whatever the case may be. Sometimes people don't know that it's important to have those things around them.
That's right.
And you almost have to show them by example. You can't tell them what to do. You have to literally show it by example. Say, for instance, I was listening to Dr. Eve this morning, and she was talking about her husband before her and her husband got married, and that we were praying about healing in the body. And she talked about how she's got these oils in her house. And when her fiance came over, he said, girl, you something else. And all she said, instead of getting offended with it, she said, don't call me when you need some oil.
Right.
Like, you're going to need this one day. And I think wisdom came in to say,
that he just doesn't know the importance of that right now. Everybody didn't grow up with spiritual leaders around them, but guys, that's who we are. We are the body of Christ. And we come to introduce those aspects to people, not through shoving it down their throats, but to show them what it looks like. And what I mean by that, when they see peace on you, they'll start wondering where your peace came from. My peace comes from my circle, my friendships, you know, people that I have on it. Now, I may not have all godly people on my circle, but it'll tell a story about people too. Because the more well-rounded you are, the more you can get along with a lot of different people. You got people with different, you know, nationalities. You got a lot of people with different religions. It tells you a whole lot about how well-rounded they are. So, you know, just having those, you know, friendships like that, I think are important. And I think it's a time for us to wise up also with our walk with God, and not get so offended with people when they don't have these things, but to show them what that looks like, you know, and how when you have those people around you and they want to know, well, how do you keep your marriage together? How do you keep that together? It's because my circle. I got some godly people on my circle. They bring accountability into my circle. And one day they're going to need your peace, and they're going to start seeking out, you know, if they are, even if they start hanging around you, they're going to run into one of your circle of people. Let God do his work. He's so good.
Yes,
he's so good. But I think my bottom line was make sure to look to see if they've got some godly people on their circle, also.
That's right. That's right. I love that. Yes, ma'am.
That's real good.
Anybody else? We're gonna flip it into our maturity and love now, because I think that we're you know, the friendship part, we definitely have some work to do on that, but our maturity and love, I'm you know, I'm still working on that myself. So anybody want to take over on that part as far as what does that look like? What does that mature love look like for you? Robin or Joe, if you guys will have anything to say on that part.
I don't know yet.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with being honest.
No, I mean, you know, I don't know yet. I know what I want it to. I know what I want it to look like.
I don't know yet either.
Yeah, because I mean, it's been a long. Sound like a song. It's been a long
time coming.
Yeah. You know, I mean, the last relationship I was in was my husband, and he's done passed away, you know, and we were divorced before he passed away. So, and it's been a long, it's been a long time. So at that time, I definitely wasn't as mature, I believe, as I should have been. You know, I didn't handle things right. I didn't have just a lot of immature things that I did and said. And but I didn't know that until I looked back. And then I saw, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't good. That wasn't right. You know, that was immature of you, you know. So I know what I want it to be. I know how I want to be in that kind of relationship. I expect more of myself, you know, to be more open and more, like Marilyn said, really being the example if I need to be, but being more Christ-like, you know, we grow, we grow into that. And that's where I am now. So I'm looking forward to watching my level of maturity, because I know it has gotten better.
Yeah. I like that. I think that, that's where I am too. I think my right now I'm just learning to like my biblical maturity. And because the Bible is love, the Bible does teach us so much about love that where I'm at right now, it needs to look like that. It needs to feel like that. When I'm reading in the Bible about love and the stories of all, you know, all these, because the Bible has so much romance stories in there, and it's like I want that kind of love. Of course, we all know Boaz and Ruth and all the, you know, those wonderful stories. So that's where I'm at. I'm trying to get my biblical maturity on first.
Right,
Mm.
right.
And then hopefully that will carry into how, how I look at love. Because
Yeah.
the love that I had in my past, that wasn't love. And I know
That's
that
right.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't
Right.
know that then when I was walking through it. I thought that was love when, looking back, it was probably lust.
Right. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I know for me, I don't want to go down that path no more. Looking with my eye and not with my heart.
That's
And
right.
so yeah, my maturity when it comes to love has definitely changed,
Mhm.
but it's more on the biblical side now
Sure.
than it is on what the world say.
Right.
I'm not looking at, does he look good or whatever, or what does he have to offer me? I'm
Right.
more about heart. I'm more
Yes.
about, okay, are you
Yeah.
gonna bring peace into my life, or are you gonna bring drama into my life? Do you have a relationship with God?
There you
That's
go.
right.
Not just do you know him, because everybody know him. I want to know, do you know how to pray, to talk to him? Do you talk to him?
Yeah.
Do you walk
yeah.
with him? Do you try your best? I'm not saying you got to be perfect, but do you try your best to live your life according to God? And I remember, I still go back to that time when we had our married couples on, and one of the men said that when he met his wife, he didn't preach to her. He talked to her about the Bible because she was in the street. She wasn't a Christian.
Right.
And so he throw Bible scriptures out to her to try to get her to, come in to God. He just kind of talked to her and just gave her real life situations and just kind of, brought it into her like that.
Mhm.
Like that to me is love. Like that's where someone, they didn't judge. He didn't judge her for who she was or what she, could bring to the table. He saw something in her and poured something in her and
That's right.
helped her become the woman that she is now.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
and
Yes.
so, I'm learning.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me. Like I said, back in the day, I was not.
I got you.
I chose with these two things,
Yeah.
not with God.
Yeah.
So anybody else, I want to throw it out there. What is your maturity level now when it comes to love? Are you mature enough now to start a relationship?
I think, just listening, and I made this statement a few times. The divine love will meet every human need. And just listening to what you are saying, you are seeking divine love that goes through the heart of God. That's what you're seeking. And when you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather I'm in the heart of God.
Okay.
And you let God live in the center of your heart. And see, when we do that, we start to live from that. Live in love and forgiveness, and by some means be forgiven. We get the true love, not the people say, I fell in love. No, you trip. Love is not about tripping.
Yeah.
No, you don't trip or fall. No, you don't fall. Because love in itself finds you. You don't direct the course of love. Love will direct your course if it's true love. It finds you worthy because it's divine love that goes through the heart of God. And that's what you want. Hello?
That's good, Joe. That's really good.
It's that. I think the more
that's
we
good.
find God, and it ain't always been that way with none of us.
Right.
But I hear you saying that. And I think that's what you were saying. I don't know yet. And that's true. That's where you are. That's where you feel. And again, I don't know everything about everything, but I know that when you move into the arena with God, you turn your heart to God. God has turned his back to you.
That's right.
And you stay focused. You stay in that vein. And all of a sudden, you get it. You get what this thing called love is. And love is sufficient unto love. We get a whole different perspective of what that looks like. And that's where we want to be, the love that God talks about.
Yes, because Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and then too, it gets to the point when you're in your conscious person, you can't be insulted. You don't be insulted because there's nothing that can insult you because you're in your conscious person. And the little innuendos that used to bother you, they don't bother you no more.
Right. That's
You know, they don't text you back. You say, oh, well, you move on.
Mhm.
Those things doesn't become important to you anymore. And you just, it's a whole different arena. And I think that's when you know, like I said, and I know I'm repetitious on that, the true infinite you cannot be insulted because that's your soul, your will, your emotion, and your mind.
Mhm.
If I'm in that arena, you cannot insult me. You cannot, you just not. There's nothing to insult.
Yeah, that makes me think about Jesus. I mean, Christ. You know, he was insulted, I guess, worse than anybody could be, but he just kept moving. You know, he just that love that poured out of him just covered, like the Bible says, love covers a multitude of faults and sins. You know, and when that love is flowing through us, and God is having His way with us.
That's right.
Then we don't let the insults, and you know, people will, but we don't let it stop us.
Right.
We just keep moving like Christ did. I mean, he shoot.
Yeah. Robin said, shoot. Yeah,
She said, shoot.
I tell you.
Yeah, that's a place. I mean, and that's kind of the goal. But again, in all of that, understand it's not perfection; it's progression on our part.
Right.
And as long as we moving in that direction, and that's it. And you know, that's the true love and the divine love that one talks about. And so I think going forward, what we do is we send people love and green lights.
I love it. Love and green lights.
Green lights. Keep it moving. It is. Yeah. And I think once we practice that, we get better at it.
Yeah.
To not get caught up in stuff that's really not important, because it's so much now, and I'm not trying to hog the conversation. That's not my point here. But again, there's so much that comes. We have to raise our level. And I think I heard Merlin say something about it this morning. Even with raising our level, it brings new devils. So we have to keep raising our bar in love in God, and that's constant. There's chunks of time spent with God in silence.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a plan of action that, you know, going forward, I think it's a way to, when we come together, we iron sharp as iron, and that's truly what we're doing. Yeah. Oh, I passed the mic.
And I want to apologize really quick. My neighbors are popping fireworks real early, so my dog is not happy right now. So I apologize for jumping off there. But I want to go to the, you know, if anybody has a comment of the topic, if you don't want to open up your mics, you are very welcome to go into our chat box. I do see a couple of comments that's in there that we need to, let me just acknowledge. Ms. Tamara did say, I like everything everyone's sharing. We all have our boundaries, and who is in the inner seat and who should be in that distant seat. I love that.
That's
Outer
right.
seat doesn't mean we can't come together for prayer or special occasions. And I think she's talking about the friendship on that one. So definitely that, you know, those seats, you got to put everybody in their seat. We can't give that title out to them and then expect them to do right. We knew they didn't belong in that first chair. They belonged in that outer seat, like she was saying. So I love that comment. Anybody else want to talk about, I think we're going to end it with our maturity and divine in love right now, because the time is getting to us. So I don't want to go past our time. But anybody else have any, you know, how they feel about their maturity level when it comes to love? How are you feeling? What are you looking for? Anything anything at all that you want to bring up? That's all right.
Well, Shelley, you know, I always have something to say.
Come
I
on,
always
Michelle.
have something to say. You know, when you talk about maturing in love, you don't know what vehicle God's gonna bring your way to mature you.
Right.
Oops.
All we know is that I think it's the highest form of love is what I call perfected love. And I think you gotta want something bad enough
Mhm.
to perfect your love. You gotta find something worth fighting for. And sometimes it's things that we take for granted, you know, it's I don't know, just little bitty things. And then I
Mhm.
think there's an appointed day through your prayers that God begins to start, okay, your prayers have come up before me as a memorial.
Yes, I love it.
I'm going to use this particular situation to teach you about love. We've been using a somewhat of an analogy in the Dream Builders class that in order for you to get to real love, you got to make sure your vertical love is right first.
That's right. That makes sense.
Once you get your vertical right, your horizontal will go well too.
That's
And so a lot of times, even when it comes down to singles, a lot of times we're wanting to be in relationship, but if we don't have that vertical love right, our love toward God, the Bible talks about single people ought to care for the things of God.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
are you serving in ministry?
That's
You
right.
know, are you asking God what you can do? You know, little things like that. That's that vertical love. God, if it's,
Yeah.
you know, is it maybe some elderly people I can go serve? They'll teach you about
That's right.
love.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Is
will.
there a maybe a organization? I remember Shelley when I came to Dallas and I started working at Cummins, and they had a outreach ministry within this big old organization to where we went to what they call the Genesis place, which is for battered women. And then
Yeah.
we went to a place called Buckner where they
Right.
took care of children. And
Right.
so every month you had to put in, see, you've prayed about it, you don't know what vehicle God gonna use to bring it in. And so every month we had to put in community hours at one of these organizations or as
Yeah.
many as possible. And a lot of times we would be over there and we would be on the food truck. And we would be on the food truck and, you know, these restaurants or these grocery stores, they give you the leftovers. And they bring it to the food truck, give it to the food truck place, and they bring it to these organizations like the Buckner House, which is for the children and low income housing and all those kind of things. We got to pack it up, you know, and then when you get in there and see people that are less fortunate than you are, oh, it'll bring out some love. And now Cummins just so happened to be a place that I think was in the center of God's love because they love serving on that level. But when it's what Shelley said, when Shelley came into this group, she had not seen women bonding together like this. And what God was doing, God was working on her love.
That's right.
You may think that God gonna bring it through a male or whatever. No, it's gonna be when you start serving.
Yes.
And the Lord's gonna show you what that love looks like.
Yes, it will.
And when you get in, it's like he's sharpening you and he's getting the edges off of you so that when you do get to a mate, it's almost like, now show me what you're working with.
Right. I love it.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yep.
I use some methods that you knew not of, because if I had told you what it was, you probably would have ran away from it or tried to boss it. I tried to boss something with it. But I used a place of compassion to use this to bring about that perfected love with you.
Right.
So being able to listen, volunteer, getting a part of different organizations, charity, different things like that, it'll teach you about some perfected love. Getting around elderly people, working with them, serving our teens, our young adults, our kids, it'll teach you about some perfect love. So when you go over there with them, you're looking at the relationship and the relationship don't look like that last relationship that you were in. It's called
That's
God had been chipping away some things. He said, I'm trying to get you to what you're praying for. But remember, Mr. Miyagi, wax on and wax off.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Paint the fence, Mr.
Yeah, it
Miyagi.
is. Yes.
You just want to get to the gift, but God want to teach you how to treat the gift before you get the gift.
That's
Wow.
right.
Go on over there and
Yeah.
wax that fence. In fact, wax
That's
that
right.
car and paint that fence. And now when you get over here and you get in relationship, you're gonna
Yeah.
wonder, oh my God, I don't fuss like I used to.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that little
Yep.
old stuff that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. It's because the Lord was working on your compassion and your love.
That's right.
That's right. I tell you, I totally agree, Miss Marilyn. My level of friendship now has changed when it comes to women, again,
Mhm.
because of the way that I the way that God has been showing it to me with this group and with the Dream Builders and all the other groups that you introduced me to. I actually have one of my girlfriends on here now that that we're building our friendship, and it's just funny to me how God, we met through our kids, but our paths are the same, and where she is now and where I was. And so just hearing her talk and hearing some of the things that she's gone through, I say, golly, that sound like me.
Yeah.
That sound like me when I was walking, God. And I truly believe that God he shows us if we're asking for him to help us, if we're asking and praying for God to give us signs and wonders and all these great
Mhm.
things, and then he walks you through it and he shows it to you, and now it's your opportunity is to now pass it on to somebody else.
Yes,
You
that's
you
right.
can't hold all that stuff in. You gotta, so when he brought me her, and now that we're connected and I see it all, I remember when I used to talk just like that. I used to act just like that.
Yeah.
And now I ask, now instead of me jumping in, I go, you know what, God, help her the same way you helped
Yes.
me. Show her the same way you showed me.
That's right.
In her way, not in my way, because I know my
Yeah.
way works for me.
Yeah.
But I pray for her. I pray for her all the time because I know I've been there.
Yes.
And that's love. That's compassion. And that's maturity.
Yeah.
And that's all he wants us to do is when he takes you out of your dark place
Mm-hmm.
and he brings you into a light and you see another sister or brother down there in that dark place, you don't sit back there and go, oh, look at them. They look terrible. That's I can't
No.
believe they down there. No. You go
No.
down there and you get them.
That's right.
You help them.
Yeah.
Pray for them. Encourage them.
Yes. Yes.
That's maturity and that's love.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too deep because I keep going, y'all.
Shelley, I want to ask the group a question. I know we're all in here in the singles, in the singles Let's Talk class, but how many of you are needing to grow in love?
Yeah.
How many of you are needing to grow and mature in love? In some area.
Yeah.
And if you know that you are, what area are you needing to, what area of love are you needing to grow in? I just want to know.
Trust.
Everybody know where they are in this season. Y'all can put it in the chat box if you'd like.
Put it in the chat or raise your hand, either one,
Yeah.
whatever,
Anybody? Nobody?
Trust issues. Latoya, trust. I said the same thing, trust. Anybody else? Trust.
Tammy said, I think it's trust.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys say trust, tell me what you mean maturing in love in the area called trust. Tell me what you mean by that. I get it, but one of y'all volunteer to tell us what y'all mean by that. Somebody that hasn't spoken already. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah.
I'll speak, Miss Marilyn. How are y'all?
Hey.
Hey.
I want to share something with y'all real quick. I went to a wedding with my husband not too long ago, and one of his family members' new girlfriend, she came up to me and she said, Camille, why you never invite me to your house? And I kind of just looked at her and I smiled and I drank my Coke. And I wanted to make sure that I was very careful with the words that I said to her. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times as women, you know, we can be a little petty, and things that you say, they'll take it the wrong way. That's why I try to be really careful with the things that we text, because people take it the wrong way.
Yes.
So I said, well, I'm going to tell you like this. I said, I feel like God has put me in a growth season in my life right now. That means I have to be careful who I allow in my circle, because he's still working on me at this time. I don't want to bring you into a space where I'm judging you just by looking at you, because I have those trust issues. Because a lot of times as women, we judge each other right away.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't spoken to each other. We haven't had a conversation. A lot of times it's hearsay. She say, oh, I know her from this, or I know her from that. And I don't want to judge anybody, by that. So I want to be really careful at this point in my life who I allow in my circle, just because I feel like I'm still in a growing season. So maybe some of the things that you're going through, I don't want you to push that off on me. And some of the things that I'm going through, I don't want to put that off on you. So I want to be really careful who I allow in my circle. And when I said it to her, she thought it was very rude.
Yeah.
She said, so you don't want me to come in your house because you feel like I'm messy? I said, no. If you're taking the things that I'm saying to you personally, that means you have a self-esteem issue in some place in your life. And that's the kind of things that I'm talking about for as putting people in a circle with you at a point in time in your life. If I'm already going through things in my household, maybe in my marriage, or just some things with me personally, I want to watch who I bring around in my life, because I don't want my things to rub off on them, and I don't want their things to rub off on me. And I want to make sure that God brought you to me for a reason, and he's bringing me in your life for a reason. If I'm lacking somewhere in my life, I want you to be able to give me, to help me build in that area. Same way with you. But if I'm not at that place in my life right now, and I'm just meeting you where you are, I don't want to be in your space. I want to be in the space that I can help you as a friend to grow. And I want you to be able to help me grow as well. If you're already reading the Bible every day, all day, I'm working on that. I'm not there yet, but you can teach me. But if you're not in that place in your life, why put each other in that same circle at that time? So I think it's more of like a trust issue, for as you don't want someone to come into your life and hurt your feelings. You don't want somebody to come into your life. They call you all the time. You answer the phone, but when you call them, they're not ever there for you. Because I've been in situations like that. And then you automatically judge them like, hey, every time I call you, you don't answer. But when you call me, I'm available. And then we have an argument. I'd rather just watch my circle at this point in my season. And if I say something to someone, I don't want it to automatically offend you by what I say. I just want you to be able to hold yourself accountable if I say it to you, and hold myself accountable as well the way that I say it to you, so that we're not bumping heads.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't say, hey, I need you to come to my house, or hey, I'm gonna invite you to this, don't take it personal. Maybe that's just not the space that I want you in at that time in my life.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's good.
beautiful. Wow,
Yes,
there's a lot to unpack right there, Miss Camille. Like you said, everything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to always say, when people, you don't be careful who you put in your space, because their demons might come after, whatever they got going on with them, the spirits that's on them can follow you. And she gave the analogy of the pigs. What's that biblical story where the demons were running the pigs? It left the man and it went into the pigs. That type of analogy. I just want to make sure I'm probably saying it wrong, but you want to be careful about who you put in your circle, your home. My home to me is sacred. If I invite you to my home, that means I trust you. That means we have reached somewhere where my guard is down, and I trust you. So no one can just walk into my doors and I'm just like, okay, come on in my house. No, I'm not that type of person. I have trust issues as well. Legions, thank you. I knew somebody was gonna have my back. If it wasn't Katambra, I knew it was somebody.
Yeah.
But yes, the legions of spirits. that were cast out of the two, yes, in the pigs, and they committed suicide. Exactly. So that's what my mom was saying. Just protect your space. And you know, if there's yeah, I agree with what Camille said. I'm gonna go to the chat box real quick because we gotta go, but I want to make sure I have everybody's answers in here. Katamba said trust is earned, not given. Let me go back. I'm sorry. She also said I'm distrustful because of past experiences. And then Tracy said I have trust issues because of mistreatment from others over the years. It's caused me to live life guarded. Oh my gosh, yes, ma'am. And then Latoya said I feel trust in a relationship. I want to feel a sense of security and loyalty because I'm gonna give you the same respect. So
yes.
That's amazing, Miss Marilyn. Yeah. Trust, trust issues. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Shelly, can I say something? Because I'm gonna have to drop off the phone. Y'all, I got my son on the call here. He's over here he over here ear hustling. Ma, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hey, man.
Hey, ear hustling. But I just wanted to kind of finish and y'all can finish the call. But when we're talking about maturing and that kind of love, I think you got to get down to the bottom. Like all of y'all put trust in there.
Everybody. It's not funny.
Everybody put the same thing in there. So if that's something that's stopping you from walking in perfected love with each other, is that their responsibility or is that your responsibility?
Yes.
That's a question we got to ask. Is that your response? Is anybody else responsible for your love?
No.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself that question. Is anybody responsible for the way you love?
Nope.
They may have caused some distrust with you, but remember our conversation is called maturing in love.
That's right.
So what is it about the distrust am I needing to learn about myself so that I can get back to love? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because that's what I want us to do. I want us to get back to love. Those can be some contributing factor. And I love what Camille said. Camille is trying to protect her peace right now because she's still hurting.
Yeah.
And I'm not at that place called perfection just yet because it hurts. I don't know who I can trust anymore.
That's right.
Until I can get back to that place of loving me again and not worrying about what anybody else is doing. I think she's doing the right thing. Don't let people in your house just yet. I'm not there yet. But let somebody in. You may not let those people in, but you got to let somebody in. Does that make sense?
That makes good sense. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
But and I think too, Marilyn, trust and truth go together. They like a hand and a glove. What's the truth? What is the truth about myself? If that makes sense. But it's trust and truth go together.
That's right.
And that's a fact. I think you factor that in. What is the truth about thyself? And I think it is coming into the true self, not the false self.
Yeah.
If that's relevant. I think, the trust and the truth factor, the truth in God's eyes, the truth about, and that godly person that you study unfolding unto.
Yeah. Oh, y'all, this maturity, I'm telling you, this topic has been very, very, very enlightening. I mean, we can sit here all night and talk about this, but that trust issue, I'm very shocked that everybody said trust. I'm still sitting there, and that speaks volumes. That speaks a lot. So we will work on that, and I don't want to keep everyone long because a lot of us are on the Eastern time. So, we definitely want to make sure we get our rest and just take what we learned tonight and just let that sit there. Let that marinate in your spirit. Always reach out to God when it comes to matters of the heart, matters of love. The Bible has all the answers for it. If we continue to show up in these spaces and talk about it, let our feelings out, and let our what we're going through out, I promise you we're gonna be better on the other side. I'm a living proof of that. And I tell you right now, if it wasn't for this space, if it wasn't for me coming in and letting out my feelings, the devil would have me think I am not worthy of love anymore. The devil will tell me that the only relationship I'm ever going to have is a sexual relationship. The devil will tell me all kinds of negative thinking, and I'll sit there and wallow in that. But I'm telling you, you come in this room, you open up your voice, you speak your truth, you let that thing out, God will bless you, and you will see doors opening, and you'll see your heart start to just open up.
Yes.
And love will start pouring in. This is a safe space, a place for love. I'm telling you, the more you come in, and everyone that's on this line, a lot of us are repeat, people that come in all the time. I know that you are being worked on, because you wouldn't keep coming in. I know God's talking to you. You wouldn't be here every Thursday night at 8:00. So do what you've got to do. Put the work in. I promise you, God will change. You will see love again. You will see it again. So,
Shelly, do you mind if I let Ahmad say a few words to y'all? He worse than Joe about dropping them wisdom nuggets on us. So do y'all mind just a few minutes on here?
No, not at all.
All right, Ahmad.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay. When I was listening, I was actually, thinking while I was listening, and a lot of what I heard made me think of, this word love. The act of love between social people is a fearless act. And we're talking about maturing in love, and the ultimate maturity in love is God's love. So, the thing about God's love is that, the love of God has no fear in it. And, whenever we're saying things like, whenever we accept ideas like I have trust issues, that means there's fear somewhere. And wherever there's fear somewhere, then God's love cannot be present. They just can't go hand in hand. Yes. So the thing that I think that we should, take in is that in order for me to say I have trust issues, that has to come from somewhere. But wherever it came from, wherever that hurt came from, wherever that pain came from, to have trust issues is a choice. The act that the person did is what they did. But to accept from that act that I have trust issues is a choice that I made. So with that comes power. And that's the beginning of, now I can start walking in God's love. I have the power now to choose to accept trust issues or not have trust issues. And this act of love is a fearless thing. It's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for, the timid. It's for the fearless.
That's right.
God's love is fearless. And that's what this thing called love is for. So us accepting limited ideas or limitations on our mindsets, saying that I have trust issues, I need to do this. These are choices that we have to say, okay, I'm no longer going to live by the BS. And by the BS, I don't mean the vulgar BS. I mean a belief system. The belief system that I'm working up under right now is that I have trust issues. And that's not a limitless mindset. The mindset of God and of people of God is a limitless mindset. But when we accept BS or belief systems that says I have trust issues, that's a limited mindset. Yeah. So let's not limit ourselves with this thing called love, and let's really, start to walk fearless and walk in power and walk in truth.
That's right.
That's it.
Amen.
Very good.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Woo!
Them nuggets I get all the time, y'all.
Listen, I wouldn't expect nothing else from Miss Marilyn's son.
Yeah.
Do you hear them, Mom?
That's great.
I love it. We're gonna close on that because I don't think he summed it all up right there.
Yeah.
Fair. That's what it is. God is not, it's not been fair. There's no fear. If we have trust issues, That's where it comes from, and that's not of God. So I love it. Love it, love it. Anybody else final words from the panel?
Yeah.
Anybody? Robin, Joe?
Well, I did have one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's called this. This is what I wanted to bring up and give some thought to. It's the miracle of friendship. The miracle of friendship that dwells within the heart, and you don't know how it happens, or when it gets its start. But the happiness it brings, you always give a special lift. And you realize that friendship is God's most precious gift. Amen.
Amen. Well, all right, y'all. That's it for tonight. I thank you guys for staying a little bit late for us, but we got them diamonds in there from Mr. Ahmad tonight. I love it. Yes, like Chris Hammer said, he left us with a real diamond. I love that. Y'all, we'll see y'all next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Y'all come back, watch the replay if you came in late. I love y'all. See y'all next week.
Love you too. Good night, everyone.
Good night.